Hey Browns fans, the Cleveland Browns just got some fantastic news that could have a big impact on their offensive performance going forward. I'll get into all the details in a moment, but first make sure to hit the like button if you've been a Cleveland Browns fan for 17 plus years. There are people here who have been fans since the 70s. It's great to see fans of all ages. Okay, let's get right to it. Myles Garrett shook up the entire Browns fan base by officially requesting a trade, and that bombshell got everyone talking. But the bigger story? It seems like the Browns are showing more loyalty to Deshaun Watson than they are to Garrett, a player who has been the heart and soul of our defense since he was drafted #1 overall in 2017. Let's back up for a second. Garrett has accomplished just about everything a player could dream of: 5 Pro Bowl appearances, 3 first-team All-Pro selections, and he's a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year again this year. Oh, and he's the 7th player in NFL history to record 10-plus sacks in 7 consecutive seasons. That's Hall of Fame-level dominance, folks. But there's one thing missing from his resume: a Super Bowl championship. And Garrett made it clear in December that he wants to win now. No rebuilding, no excuses. He told Browns reporter Mary Kay Cabot, "I want the Browns to be able to put us in a position to win. I'm not trying to rebuild. I'm trying to win now." Apparently, the Browns haven't shown him a plan that's good enough to keep him around. And that's where things get frustrating. The Browns went all in on Deshaun Watson just a few years ago, making one of the most controversial moves in NFL history by giving him a fully guaranteed contract. But when it comes to Garrett, who has been nothing but loyal and dominant on the field, that same level of commitment just isn't there. Now, Travis Kelce even weighed in on the situation during Super Bowl week. The Chiefs star, who hails from Cleveland Heights, had nothing but praise for Garrett, calling him a professionals pro and someone who has done a lot for the Cleveland community. Kelce added, "I think Cleveland deserves to have a product that they can really get excited about. This is a die-hard sports town." And he's right. This fan base has been through it all, and seeing a key player like Garrett potentially go is tough to swallow. But here's the thing, this could have been avoided. If the Browns had laid out a solid, winning plan for the future, we probably wouldn't be talking about this trade request right now. So what happens next? Well, every team in the league would love to have a player like Garrett. He's the kind of game-changing player that franchises build around. If the Browns are smart, they'll either convince him to stay by making some aggressive moves in the offseason or get a big chunk of draft picks in return if they trade him. But let me throw this back to you, Browns fans. What do you think? Is the front office making a mistake by prioritizing Deshaun Watson over Myles Garrett? Can the Browns salvage this situation, or is it already too late? Let me know what you think in the comments below. With Myles Garrett's recent trade request making waves, the team may be forced to rethink their entire offseason strategy. If they do trade Garrett, it could open up a world of possibilities, especially when it comes to draft picks and rebuilding the roster. Now, here's the kicker. Christopher Knox of Bleacher Report has a pretty interesting take on what the Browns should do next. According to him, Cleveland may want to keep an eye on Alabama's Jalen Milroe as a potential quarterback. He believes Milroe's skill set would be a perfect fit for Kevin Stefanski's offensive system, especially now that the Browns are likely returning to a run-and-play zone offense after parting ways with offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. Knox wrote, "Cleveland would be a logical landing spot for Milroe for a few reasons. For one, the Browns will likely return to Kevin Stefanski's run-and-play zone offense after the firing of offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. It's a system that would accentuate Milroe's skills as a runner and passer. That makes a lot of sense, right? And there's another connection worth noting. Milroe has a history with new Browns offensive coordinator Tommy Rees, who briefly coached him at Alabama. That relationship could make Milroe an even more attractive prospect for Cleveland. But here's where things get tricky. If the Browns do end up trading Garrett, they'll likely receive several high draft picks in return. That could completely change their focus. Instead of drafting a quarterback early, they could look to secure the best player available with the #2 pick, possibly Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. So how does Milroe fit into that scenario if they pass on him with the #2 pick? Knox suggests the Browns may need to trade up later in the first round to get Milroe, since he likely won't be available on the team where the second-round pick lands. It's a tricky move, but with the assets of a potential Garrett trade, it's not out of the question. This raises a lot of questions about the Browns' future. Could Jalen Milroe be the next big star in Cleveland? Is trading Garrett the right move for the team's long-term success? And what does all of this mean for the Browns' chances next season? Should the Browns go all in on Jalen Milroe? Let us know in the comments. The Browns are at a critical juncture. Losing a generational talent like Garrett isn't just a blow to the defense, it reshapes the entire future of the team. So who could fill this huge void? Enter Travis Hunter, a prospect from Colorado who could be the answer. Now, I know what you're thinking. Can anyone really replace Garrett? He's one of the best to ever don the orange and brown. But hear me out. Hunter isn't just your average draft prospect. He's one of the most dynamic and versatile athletes we've seen in years. Christopher Knox of Bleacher Report recently described Garrett as generational, and that's a word that's also being used to describe Travis Hunter. This young man has been turning heads since he was a toddler, throwing footballs left and right-handed at the age of 5. His athletic roots run deep, with a grandmother who was a Florida State champion and a father who played semi-pro football. Hunter's path to stardom has been nothing short of remarkable. After dominating high school football at Georgia, he shocked the recruiting world by trading himself from Florida State to Jackson State to play for Deion Sanders. When Coach Prime moved to Colorado, Hunter followed, and he's now the top player on many NFL draft boards. But what makes him so special? It's his ability to excel on both sides of the ball. As a cornerback, he's a lockdown tackler who can shut down the opposition's best receiver. As a wide receiver, he's a game-changing playmaker with an uncanny ability to win contested catches. The challenge, of course, is whether he can sustain that two-way role in the NFL. Playing 100-plus snaps per game isn't realistic at the professional level, where the physical toll is much greater. Most experts believe Hunter will need to pick a primary position, and cornerback seems like the smart choice given the impact and value of that role. But that doesn't mean he can't make appearances on offense in critical situations. Think of players like Deion Sanders, Champ Bailey, and Charles Woodson, who have found success in similar roles. Even the Patriots' Marcus Jones has shown that it's possible to contribute on both sides of the ball. With the offensive mind of Kevin Stefanski and the defensive expertise of Jim Schwartz, the Browns are in a perfect position to develop Hunter's talents. He could be the cornerstone of a new era for Cleveland football, bringing excitement and energy to a franchise that has seen its share of heartbreak. If the Browns do end up trading Garrett, the focus will inevitably shift to rebuilding. And what better way to do that than by drafting a player with Hunter's unique skill set and potential? He could be the face of the franchise for years to come, a true game-changer. Last year, Todd McShay even went as far as to say that Hunter is a better cornerback than Toledo's Quinyon Mitchell, the top corner pick in the 2024 draft, and a more skilled wide receiver than Rome Odunze, who was the third wideout to go off the board in a historically talented class. Imagine having that kind of talent in one player. Hunter is a once-in-a-generation athlete, the Shohei Ohtani of football, a player who defies convention and brings limitless possibilities to the field. If he reaches his full potential, we could be talking about a future Hall of Famer in Canton. But I want to hear from you, Browns fans. Do you think Travis Hunter could be Cleveland's next big star? Is he worth drafting if Garrett is traded? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe for more news. Go Browns!